What's up, guys? We are back with another Super 7 Ultimates G.I. Joe Wave 2 review, and we're jumping over to the bad guys this time around with easily my most anticipated figure in this wave. We're taking a look at DESTRO. Now, for the bad guys, they get a color palette swap when it comes to the boxes. So you've got the blue camo for the slipcover with the Cobra logo there on the front. Pop that off, and you've got Chrome Dome there in the big window with all of his accessories. Joe logo up top. You've got the DESTRO dog tag down there on the bottom, and then the back of the box gives us those animation shots. You've got your sort of computer screen readout with a radar, and then you've got your actual bio up top looking like the 80s animation cartoon computer readouts. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Ultimates G.I. Joe Wave 2 DESTRO, the unequivocal best figure in this wave, and there's literally no arguments accepted on this one. This is the best figure in this wave. Not just because he doesn't suffer from the skin tone issue, he is also the coolest looking figure in this wave. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. He is a little bit different from some of the other figures so far. He's more akin to the Bat from Wave 1. So we've got a head that is kind of locked down. Like, he really doesn't do a whole lot. A lot of that has to do with the collar. Like, his head is so close to that he's not going to be able to look up anyway. He has some tilt. And then you've got rotation, but it only goes as far as the collar is going to allow it. Arms go out at the shoulders, of course. They rotate. You've got your bicep swivel. We've got our single jointed 90-degree elbow. You've got wrist hinge, rotation there. His torso is a single piece, and there is very little articulation. It's essentially just a waist twist. I'm assuming it's a ball peg because of what shimmy there is there, but it doesn't actually afford anything. So he can't crunch or tilt really in any direction, which is the big negative of this figure for me. Legs go out about that far. They still don't go out very far. They kick forward more than 90 degrees. You get into a little high kick there. Nothing backwards. We've got our single jointed but better than 90-degree knee. And then you've got nothing at the boot. He surprisingly does not have a twist despite having a spot for one. And then you've got rocker and you've got hinge. So you're going to have to get creative with your twist at the thigh, since there isn't one at the knee because of this particular knee design they use, which is still kind of odd how it works. And then we've got nothing at the actual boot cut itself. It's just a sculpt piece in the ankle. So he's very similar to a lot of the other figures, but he's also a little bit different in a few ways just because of some of these design choices. Where he excels, of course, and it's where it was always going to be, right, is the visuals. This is a cartoon line, and this is a very cartoon DESTRO, and I'm very, very happy about that. I think he looks terrific pretty much from top to bottom. If I have one gripe, it's that his flesh tone for his chest is maybe a little on the orange side, but it's all right. I mean, he's just kind of tanned and, you know, ready for the beach, but he does look terrific otherwise. The majority of that just comes down to the fact that it's a pretty easy design. Like, I'm not saying that in the sense that I could have made this, but it just seems like a pretty easy design. You've got the big collar, you've got a bare chest, you've got some robo arms, and you've got relatively normal legs too, but that all works fine, especially with this color scheme. The reds, the blacks, the grays, it all works really well. I like the fact that the necklace is sculpted. I would also have liked it if it wasn't sculpted. I can tend to go either way. This is an ease of use aspect here, is that I don't have to worry about losing it. The silver, though, on this guy is super, super metallic and really, really nicely done. I have no issues at all with the sheen on this guy. I think it looks really good. It's very metallic, very crisp, and the paint is also very, very clean. I've got no issues with any kind of slop or any mess or any of that kind of stuff. But it's the head sculpt and the neck, too, by extension, the neck as well, with that just super, super chromed out look. The rivets at the collar of the neck, I think, look really good. And the overall sculpt on this particular face and head look terrific and are just accentuated by the paint. What little he has beyond the silver, because, you know, of course he has a few features, are also really nicely done. You've got the slightly furrowed brow, which makes perfect sense for DESTRO, the black eyes with the green pupils, but the chrome, the metallic here, it really helps to sell this figure, and I think overall they did a really solid job on him just from top to bottom. Now, as far as some size comparisons, let's start with some other Ultimates. So we've got DESTRO in the middle, we've got Cobra Commander from Wave 1 here on the right, and they're basically the same. And then we've got Leo from Turtles here on the left, and of course, you know, they're not exactly anything alike, but you can get an idea of exactly how those two different lines are going to scale with one another. And let's move these guys aside. Let's do Mythic Legions. So here is a 2.0 Mythic Legions figure. There's an elf, Legion Builder. And let's do an Animal Warrior of the Kingdom. So there is Pale. And then let's take this guy away and let's do a Mezco. Here's Conan for Mezco size comparison. Of course, you know, they're nothing alike. And then let's get just any other Hasbro figure in there. Doesn't really matter, 6-inch, 1/12 scale. So here is an Iron Man for Hasbro comparison. So, I mean, it's Ultimates, it's 7-inch style figure, so he's going to fit pretty much anywhere in that range. He's going to look bigger than anything that is normal Hasbro, quote-unquote, 1/12 size. Now, as far as accessories goes, Destro has a lot, and a lot of it is actually really, really good. The heads in particular on this guy, I think, are pretty stellar. To start with, we get this stoic but still kind of angry head sculpt. We get 3 others, so we get the yelling head sculpt. We get the laughing head, which has no eyes, so his eyes are closed. I thought that it was an error at first before I realized what it was supposed to be, but this is like his maniacal laughing head. I really like this one. And then we get a very specific one. This is like mass episodes. This is the lava splatter head, which, I mean, is very goofy, very weird, and very quintessential Destro. And it has, before we move on, it does have its companion accessory, because in that instance, Destro sands his head clean, and he even calls for a sander, and one of the Cobra troopers just has it, and he buffs his head off gets the lava off with the sander. So of course, Super 7 includes that. Why not? And then he also includes, and this is a weird one, this is the Destro family ancestral mask, because like one of his ancestors was like a man in the iron mask kind of a guy. So he has that mask. It fits on the heads. I don't know how I'm ever going to use it, but you got it. We get a bunch of extra hands, so he's got fists on him in the box. You get a set of, these I think are supposed to be like rifle grip trigger fingers, but you can also use them as pointing fingers. We've got a set of gripping hands and trigger finger hands. So this is a trigger finger, this is a gripping hand. You've got vertical and horizontal, another gripping hand, and then you've got a wide grip, grasping, sort of palming style hand. We get a bunch of weapons, of course. He has his wrist attachment, so you've got a grenade attachment that just sits on top of the wrist, and 2 of the missile launchers. So you can have 2 missile launchers, or mix and match, or of course none. We get some binoculars, and his are pretty specific. These are very unique to Destro. I do really like these. We get this Atari joystick, which this might be the molecular enlarger or reducer thing, maybe. I don't remember, but it is 100% an Atari joystick. And then we get a bunch of guns. So you get some like laser pistols, just done up in like flat gray. You get an actual handgun, done up in flat gray. He has no weapon storage on him except for the wrist gauntlets. You get this like submachine gun kind of thing. And then you also get this monster missile launcher, which is not only enormous, but it actually comes with the missile. So you can load it, or you could just have him maniacally laughing while holding this missile, I guess. But he has like the complete package here. He's got so much stuff. He's got an entire arsenal of weaponry just for himself. He has, what, 4 different heads, a bunch of hands. You've got the all-important sander, and I think this is just one of the most ridiculous but essential accessories. You get the mask. There's just a lot of stuff here that kind of runs the gamut from goofy, esoteric, deep-cut stuff to very standard G.I. Joe weaponry. So he pretty much has it all. So yeah, overall, like I said kind of at the beginning, this guy's easily the best figure in the wave, and there's really no comparison across the board. And a lot of that does have to deal with the skin tone issue across these figures. I still think Flint is the worst example of that when it comes to the others, but Destro is a fully painted figure. I mean, all the stuff that needs paint has paint on this guy. The chest is painted, the forearms are painted, and the head is painted. That metallic is super good. Again, really happy with that. Very clean, very shiny. And then he comes with a ton of accessories, and they're all really good. Despite the fact that there is just a lot to deal with this figure, he does have a lot of good stuff. You have a bunch of different weapons as far as guns and different styles and types. You get all these heads, you get the freaking missile launcher, and of course you get that sander, which is entirely unnecessary, but it's a funny thing to include, and I'm glad it's here. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super 7 Ultimates G.I. Joe Wave 2 Destro. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.